Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video we have a lot to go through. We're going to go through most all of the information that we got from the keynote at the Pro Tour Amsterdam with Brian Gottlieb, showing some stuff for Rosetta. Kind of go over organized play, go over some of the promos and the new cards and new hero abilities. So we'll get right into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. We'll get right into it. If my mic sounds a little bit different, I was setting my video up this morning and I use a Shure mic, and I use the normal like USB. I haven't upgraded to an XLR setup yet, and the USB port in it finally, after countless times moving with it so far, literally came out of the port, so it's pretty much dead. So I have to upgrade it to an XLR. So I'm using Reagan's HyperX mic right now. It works just fine, but it might sound a little bit different. So if that's what you hear, then I apologize for that. But we're gonna get right into it. So the first thing I want to go over is just some of the actual like announcement-based stuff with Rosetta, some of the promos, stuff like that, and then we'll get into the cards. So Rosetta was announced. The keynote came up by Brian Gottlieb. He did an amazing job, super well done. Loved the presentation. Everyone's been waiting for this because they gave us a little bit of teaser right back at US Nats, but they didn't show off the wizard hero abilities, and they also didn't show off some of the key details. So the Rosetta World Premiere is still in Tampa Bay, September 6th through 8th, as that much is known. We do know preview season starts August 27th. They said that preview season is going to be a little bit different this year, or not a year, but this set, they're not going to give, I think what they're basically saying is they're not going to give as many previews out because they want people to experience seeing the cards for the first time at these world premiere, or mainly at the world premiere, but at your pre-release and the world premiere and stuff like that. And I'm okay with that. Like, even as a content creator who has and has not gotten spoiler cards, like, it doesn't bother me at all if I don't get one. Like, I just want to see like cool stuff be shown no matter how they do it. So really excited about that. They have the pre-releases September 13th through 16th, the calling, alongside the world premiere. I think it's a seal calling. And then finally, release date is September 20th. That's coming up pretty fast. Like, we're under 2 months away from Rosetta already. Misfail is going to get its time to shine, but we're quickly going to go into Rosetta. So that was kind of like the key things there. The next one was the First Strike decks. They did talk about these, which I'll show here in a second. Their product release. Early access starts at Gen Con on August 1st, which is next week. Then they officially release August 23rd, and then finally you'll be able to play them, I think, at September 6th in the world premiere. It's really cool, these First Strike decks, because these are what their entry-level product is meant to be. And Brian Gottlieb said that very clear during the keynote, that this is the creme de la creme, first-time player entry-level product. And it's really interesting. I'm not going to go on a super long tangent with this, but I do think they're going to not do away with Blitz whatsoever. I know a lot of people still love Blitz. I think the format will always be in the game, but I don't think marketing and product-wise they're going to be focusing on Blitz. I think they're going to continue to do the Blitz bundles for each set, just because it's pretty easy. Depending on sales, they might actually go away with that. Who knows? I just don't think you'll see singularized Blitz decks anymore. I think this is what is meant to replace Blitz decks as that entry-level product. I mean, Brian Gottlieb even joked about it on the keynote. He said, I started my Flesh and Blood journey with the Prism and Levia Blitz decks. He's like, and I thank God I'm still here, like implying that those experiences weren't very good. So these decks are specifically made to teach the game. They're specifically made to enjoy the game right off the start. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with Blitz decks. I know there's a lot of Blitz connoisseurs out there, people that love Blitz, but I think it will still be a format, but I also think that it will kind of slowly go away in the organized play system. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I didn't show it on here, but also another thing I think is alluding to that is we're having a calling in December. Where is it? Is it Chicago? I forgot where it is off the top of my head. Let me know in the comments below. There's so many events. But we're having a Living Legend calling in December, which is huge, right? This is what everyone wants to do. I think that's kind of the semi-future of Flesh and Blood as far as another premiere format. So all that being said, that's the next thing. Then we had the product roadmap. So as you can see here, Rosetta released in September. We have a set 15 in January and a set 16 in May. Brian Gottlieb did mention that we will be returning to another region in one of these sets. I'm assuming it's Monarch. I think this is Monarch Part 3. That's my guess. like the final part of Monarch. We have 4 more Armory decks coming out in the next like year from right now, which is really, really nice. He also did mention, for anyone that's unaware, there will be a brand new hero, like not a remake or a reskin of a hero, coming out in one of these Armory decks, which I am very excited for, but also curious to see how that goes. Armory decks are selling pretty well. It depends where you're at. Some people, they sell out like really fast. Some people say they still have some on their shelves. It all depends. But if a new hero that's even remotely like wanted comes out in these Armory decks, I could easily see them selling out really quickly. So hopefully that, we have to trust LSS that the allocations will be suitable for that. It might be Terra, right? It might be the new hero that's out. Because he didn't say never seen before. He just said new hero, right? So that could be just new to the CC format. Could be even like Blaze, who knows? Then we get the new player First Strike at Gen Con. And then finally, Master Pack Guardian. So I didn't screenshot what it is, but it's 140 new cards, or mostly new cards. 140 card set, basically, is what it is. It's not like something you can buy all at once. It's going to be basically like another set coming out. It's 140 mostly new cards, mostly all Guardian. He said mostly all Guardian cards that can be played by all Guardians in the format, and it's meant to like master your class. But also, like he said that when new players get into the game and they're like, okay, I want to build Bravo, right? Or what set should I buy? Or let's use his analogy of Brute. I want to build Brute. What set should I buy? Like a good player will tell you like, okay, buy some heavy. Unless you just want to buy the singles, buy some heavy hitters, buy some Welcome to Wraith. Right, that's where the most of the set goes for that class. But this is meant to be like, okay, I love Guardian. I want to play Guardian. What should I buy? Just buy the Master Guardian pack. Now it's gonna be really interesting. Hopefully this doesn't like just catapult Guardian into craziness. Like if there's 140 cards and they're mostly new cards, or there's a lot of new cards involved, right? We'll see how that goes with balancing, but I'm sure they're taking that into account like they are everything else. But it's super cool. It's only one for the year. Maybe they're going to do one per year. Who knows? Or maybe this is like their test run, and then they'll see how it goes. Super excited to see how that is. We only have so much information on that, so you can't really judge it too hard until we see more. Then we have the organized play stuff. Pretty standard here. Nothing crazy. All the OP season stuff is the same as it always was. The biggest thing here is the 2 Pro Tours. There's no American Pro Tour next year. I'm okay with that, even as a US guy. Like, even if I was training my ass off for the Pro Tour, like, there was a lot of time early on so far in the four plus years of Flesh and Blood that, like, Europe got shafted on events. So I understand why they're trying to give Europe a little bit more love. And also with APAC being a legitimate, I mean, they've always been legitimate, but a bigger represented region. I think it's totally okay to not have an American Pro Tour. It doesn't really bother me at all. Next year, I'm sure the U.S. will get one, and one region will be left out, just like it is. You can only do it so much. They really need to drive home that APAC growth, which makes complete sense to me. So there's that, and then we have this. So this will be coming up at Osaka. This is the interesting thing. So Reagan showed me a screenshot of this. It's the 5th anniversary pack. I'm not going to be judgmental of this. So let's talk about the good things. One, this is really cool. He didn't give any details of what this pack entails, what's inside this pack. On October 11th, it'll be the 5th anniversary of Flesh and Blood, and to celebrate that, if you go to the World Championships in Osaka, you will get a 5th anniversary pack, is how I understand it. What's inside the pack, no one knows. Brian Gottlieb said, though, it's going to be like insane, so I'm assuming like cold foil. Like, my thought went to like cold foil legendaries, like Tunic or something crazy. I don't know, like obviously maybe not that because of the cold foil policy, but like something insane. This is really cool. I really like this. Like, if we're just trying to be super positive, I really like how this is a celebration of the game. It's enticing for players to celebrate them buying that plane ticket and go into the world premiere in a brand new region. Like, there's so many cool things about it. I am a little hesitant just because, people that have been playing this game for 4 or 5 years that can't make it to that world premiere would really like one of these. And the aftermarket sale on these, especially if people understand what's even remotely inside of them, might be insane. But at the same time, you either buy a couple $1,000 plane ticket / trip to Osaka to get one, or you pay $1,000 for one. So like either way, you're still paying that money to get that pack, right? If that's really the reason you're doing it. So you only can be but so negative about this. I think it's really cool. I'm glad that they're doing these little things, because people don't like exclusivity, and I don't like exclusivity when it affects the competitive meta. But I do like exclusivity when it comes to just, having a little piece of the game that's yours. Like, I use a video game analogy, like Valorant, not quite as big of a scale, but the video game Valorant, the first-person shooter, there's certain skins that come out, and you can't get them again once they leave the store in that couple week span, unless they decide to bring them back. And I really like that, because, it's really cool to get a skin that, yes, everyone has access to it in that week, but, you get that skin, and then, 3 years later, 4 years later, even Overwatch does the same thing, where it's oh, I have that OG Mercy skin or whatever, and it's something you can hold on to, and then new players come in and wow, it's so cool, and it's something you just get to have. It's collectability, which I really like. So I have no issues with this. I know some people were a little bit negative on it, but I think it's really cool. And then finally, the other thing before we get into the cards is the promos for the season events. So Findle's Fighting Spirit promo is going to be available at the world premiere in Tampa Bay, Calling Sydney and Calling Lyon. Lightning Press, which is also really cool. Brian Growley said you definitely want to pick up these, right? I think Lightning Press obviously is going to be a very powerful card in Rosetta. Lightning Press available daily at the Calling Portland, Kuala Lumpur, Florence, and Chicago. So that is those. Now let's get into the cards, because I know that's what y'all want to talk about. I tried to go through that as efficiently as I could. Let me pull this up really fast. Hopefully I can. Where did we get it? Okay, here it is. Sorry. Professional YouTuber here. So we're going to go over the hero abilities first. So Verdance and Auxilio, I think no one had any idea what Auxilio, hopefully I'm saying that right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The people in the YouTube comments, you always correct me when I say stuff wrong. Y'all are amazing with that. But Verdance, I know Majin Bay had something to say about when she gains life, she'll deal a point of arcane, and he thought that would actually be way too powerful. That's pretty much what it was. Now, it is an instant of gaining life, not every time you gain a singular life, you deal a point of arcane. But this says, if there are 8 or more Earth cards in your banish zone, Verdance gets whenever you gain life during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target, which I enjoy because now you can also target permanents. So that's gonna be really cool. But I really like this because it's almost like a control wizard, which we haven't really had, right? To me, getting those 8 cards in you're gonna have to run a mix of arcane, but also the decompose mechanic. Now we'll see how much decompose is inherently in arcane stuff. But right now, the only decompose we see is on a physical attack. So it'd be really cool to see if Verdance has this mix of physical, kind of like Icelander, mix of physical and arcane, in order to get that game state where she can start using her life gain to deal damage, which makes sense for cards like Heartbeat of Candlehold. It says gain 1, gain 1, gain 1. The reason that is because you can gain 1, deal a point of arcane, gain 1, deal a point of arcane, so on and so forth. So this card essentially says pay 1 resource, gain 3 life, deal 3 arcane damage. That's pretty much what it is. Yes, those arcane damages are 1 instance 3 times, so it's easier to block, right? However, it's pretty good, right? To be able to do this is pretty nice, right? And it makes sense, and it has go again. So block 3. So Verdance is really cool. Her I didn't put the Blitz versions or the young versions in here, but her young version is just 4 cards instead of 8 cards that need to be banished, similar to Florian. So that's really cool. Then we have Florian, Rotwood Harbinger. If there are 8 or more Earth cards in your banished zone, Florian gets, if you would create 1 or more Aura tokens, instead create that many +1 of those tokens. So it's literally his young hero ability would just double the amount of cards that you need. This is Mordred Tide on a stick, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see this mid-range / control rune blade that wants to get to the game state of being able to generate a lot of rune chants, a lot of tokens and stuff like that. And we saw that with some of the dual-sided cards that we'll talk about here in a second, but really cool for Florian. Then we have Aurora Shooting Star, which we saw. I just wanted to show her artwork. And then finally, Auxilio, Constella Intelligence. Once per turn instant, discard an instant, draw a card. This is really interesting. I'm not a wizard player, so please let me know in the comments what y'all think about how good this is. I saw Mask of Momentum on Twitter and some other mainstay wizard players saying this is awesome. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying I don't see it innately because I'm not I'm not a Wizard player, so please let me know in the comments. But regardless, the artwork on these for the Marvels is sick. I should have put them on here for the video. We're too far gone at this point. But I'm really enjoying that. But yeah, then we had the dual-sided cards. So they're implementing a new mechanic into the game called Meld. So if you flip this card, it would look like just like a normal Flesh and Blood card, right? It would look like this, right? Like that. But on the back side, it's two cards in one. And the way Meld works, it says if you may play one or both halves of this card, each costs 0. Now, I don't know the rules of like sequencing. We'll get into that later. But what's really cool about this is like this card costs nothing to play for both sides. So if you are running, but you have to be able to fulfill this. So this is going to be ran by Aurora, right? In order to be use both sides of the card. But Aurora can play this, and at instant speed can deal 1 arcane damage to anything. And then Burn Up says the next time an attack you control hits a hero this turn, deal 4 arcane damage to them. So if we back up really fast to Aurora's ability, it says once per turn instant, pay 2, create an embodiment lightning token, activate this card only if you have played a lightning card this turn. You're able to play a lightning card in shock, play Burn Up, and then pay 2 to give something a lightning embodiment of lightning, and then play that, right? So you don't have to do that, but you could do this into, you know, I'm just thinking of a random line off the top of my head, like on the fly. Like you have this card, you have, let's just say Lightning Surge, and let's say Lightning Press. You play all that costs 0, right? So you play this, you deal 1 arcane damage, and you say the next time an attack you control hits this turn, deal 4 arcane damage. You play that Lightning Press for 4, or not Lightning Surge for 4. Let's say they block exactly 4. You play that Lightning Press on top of it. You deal 3 physical and 4 arcane. So you're threatening 8, 9, and 3 cards, but it's split damage. So it's some really cool stuff. Obviously, there's probably way better interactions than that, but regardless, really, really cool here. Then we have Null and Shock. So this is a Lightning Wizard. So Auxilia will be able to run this. It costs 1 to play. So when something costs something with these Meld, you have to pay for both if you want to play both. So if I just want to play Shock, I only have to pay 1 resource. But if I want to play both, I have to pay 2 resources. So for 2 resources, you can deal 1 arcane to any damage to any target at instant speed. And if target instant card has costs less than the total arcane damage you've dealt to the opposing heroes this turn, negate it. So negate is a way to prevent arcane inherently in this set. So if target instant card has cost less than the total arcane damage you've dealt to the opposing hero this turn, negate it. It does not resolve. I'm trying to read this like on the fly. If target instant card has cost less than the total arcane damage you dealt to opposing hero this turn, negate it. So basically, if you've prevented enough arcane, this can help stop whatever it is. It doesn't resolve. So if they've tried to deal damage to me and they haven't dealt any damage, and then they try to play like a 1-cost arcane spell and they haven't done any damage to me, I can just negate the entire thing, which sounds pretty cool. Like, hopefully I'm reading that right. Let me know in the comments below if I'm reading that right. But regardless, the point of this is I think on top of like having a really strong ability, it's also an inherent way for the set to prevent arcane, because the set is not going to have any null rune in it, which we'll talk about here in a second. But really, really cool there. That's a really interesting card. I'm going to have to read that more later. That one got me the first time I read it, even before this video. So this one also, Life Impulsing Ether. Pay 1 for each, so you have to pay 2 total to get both. At instant speed, you can gain a life, which means with Verdance, you can also deal a point of arcane. And then for another additional resource, you can deal 4 arcane damage to any target. So basically, if you have her hero ability online, you can pay 2 to gain 1 life, deal 5 arcane. Sounds pretty good. Like, it's like a Voltic Bolt with life gain, right? Basically. Really, really cool. The instant being, the gain life being instant also really helps as well. And it's a wizard action without go again, though. So that definitely is relevant there. Then we have Thistle and Bloom. This is the last one. And life, again, life, gain a life. You also deal a point of Arcane with Verdance if you've turned on her hero ability. This costs nothing to play, so you can play both sides for free. And this also says create. Well, actually, this isn't Verdance. This is for Florian. I'm crazy. Create X rune chant tokens, where X is the total life you've gained this turn. And remember Florian's ability, it says if you've created a token, you create that much +1, right? So with Florian, as you can see, Florian's probably going to be more of a controlling mid-rangey here as well. Let's say you've gained 3 life that turn, you can create 3 rune chant tokens, but if Florian's ability is online, you'll create 4 for 0 resources. Pretty good, right? It does not have go again, which is also very interesting. I think Florian's not going to be like Viscerai, where you're like creating rune chants of the attack. It's going to be like building up and then one big hit. Like not like combo in the game hit, but you know what I mean. Really cool there. So they showed one for each hero. So this one's for Florian. This one is for Verdance. This one is for Auxilio. And this one is for Aurora. So that is the meld mechanic. Then we have Sanctuary of Artists. This is what I want to talk about. Inside this set, there is no apparent null rune. Go to the keynote and listen to Brian if you want to hear like why they did that. I don't want to like speak exactly because it was a little bit confusing. I think what they're wanting to do is have each set be encapsulated during the draft and limited experience. They want that set to feel encapsulated. They don't want cards from outside that set or mechanics, I think, even from outside that set to influence that experience. That's the way I heard it. So because of that, they have stuff like Sanctuary of Arya, which is a Rosetta macro, which means you start the game with this in the arena when playing a Rosetta limited format. So this is only for limited. Instant pay 2, prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to you this turn by a source of your choice. Destroy this at the beginning of your end phase. So this is basically like Helios Mitre or whatever it was, the headpiece, but for Arcane, or like for the purpose of most likely preventing Arcane. Really cool art, first off. But yeah, having no inherent way to prevent Arcane in this set. We do have the negate, we do have life gain, and we do have this. But it's going to be interesting to see how fast limited goes. I wonder if it's really going to be enough. I'm assuming it is. I mean, they tested it, but really interesting there. And then finally, a couple other ones. We have a playset of generics that were spoiled. We have Tongue Tied. It's a 3 for 7 that says when it hits a hero, turn a card in their arsenal face up, then banish an instant card from their arsenal. That's interesting. And then it's just a cycle of 1, 2, or 3, but they all banish something different. Smash Up is a 1 for 5 that says when it hits a hero, turn a card in their arsenal face up, then banish an attack action card from their arsenal. And then hidden behind the pin is 2 for 6. Same thing, except it banishes a non-attack. This one's really interesting for Prism Tongue Tied because she might want to like Arsenal and Genesis or Arsenal and Arclight. Yes, they can play it in response, but it forces their hand quicker. That's really interesting. It also makes Azalea cry a little bit. She can't activate Skullbone. But yeah, really cool stuff there. And then finally, Earth Form and Lightning Form. When this hits, create an embodiment of Earth token. Pretty simple there. 3 for 7, 2 block. And then finally, Lightning Form, which I love this card. When this hits, create an embodiment of Lightning token. So being able to like, you know, play this on an embodiment of Lightning token that you already have, give it go again. It's a 1 for 5 go again, and then be able to threaten your next attack getting go again if it hits. Like I could see how Aurora could really abuse this really fast. So really excited for that one. But yeah, that's all the cards. I wanted to get all through them and kind of give your thoughts. Sorry, I had a little bit of a hiccup on the meld cards. I'm still reading them like everyone else is. But yeah, I'm super excited. The hero abilities are not, I don't want to say they're underwhelming because that's the wrong word. They're not underwhelming at all. They're very simple, but they all seem very powerful, right? So super excited. I'm mostly excited about Verdance, as you can see above my head. I want to be able to play her. I know Reagan's like gonna force me to get that Marvel as she's like shaking her head off camera while I'm talking about it. So I'm probably not gonna have a choice to play this hero a little bit. But yeah, so super excited about it. LSS did a great job with the Rosetta spoilers. Can't wait to see how the world premiere goes. Can't wait to see how the preview season goes. It's a little bit different this time. We'll see how the community reacts. So they can be more excited because they don't know all the cards, less excited, this, that, or the other. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'd love to hear it. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Have fun watching the Pro Tour this weekend. We'll do some updates on that as well. And I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.